welcome to episode 11 of
The Ed Factor.
Today we are going to chat about Maiden England, following on from our previous episode of the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son.
Megasode.
Megasode was a bit of an epic. It
Yeah.
certainly was. Hope you enjoyed it.
We certainly did.
We did.
And we've been digesting some of the tour.
Yeah.
The subsequent tour.
The subsequent tour. We had so much to say about the album. We thought we would do this as a separate episode. Plus, we dedicated an episode to Life After Death.
Yep.
And
Seemed only fair.
It seemed only fair.
Yep.
And at that point, we decided that, since that live album had its own episode,
Yep.
each live album in turn should have its own episode.
Yep.
So,
Which will stretch everything out a bit
just
too.
the
It's quite good.
because there's a hell of a lot of live
Yeah,
albums
exactly.
in the catalogue.
Exactly. It's supposed to laterally more so. but
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So, Maiden England
Yeah.
was released 8th of November 1989.
Yep. I remember it. I don't remember it well.
89 was a year off for the band.
That's right.
Or at least most of a year off for the band. So putting out a live album was a good way. Now the band were starting to take a bit of a break in between their album tour cycles.
Yes.
A much earned break.
The more
considering
modern, modern sort of thing now, isn't it? That, well, we have a queer time to wait between Maiden albums nowadays. But
Yes. The pace they set in those, like we said before, the first kind of 3, 4, 5 years is just crazy.
It is.
So 8th November 89, it is released, and it is recorded, of course, in Birmingham NEC
That's
on
right.
27th and 28th of November 1988.
Mm-hmm.
So almost released a year later.
Yeah.
Audio is mixed, of course, by Martin Birch.
Yeah.
Aside from the 2013 reissue of this, and the version that we're probly all listening to now, if you have bought the DVD
or watch it, it's
or
on
watch
YouTube
it on
as well.
YouTube, it is actually remastered and I believe remixed by
Kevin Shirley.
Right.
Right.
So a little frustratingly, I struggled to find a VHS version of it to see what if there was any real difference in the mix. So if anyone knows whether there really is,
Please let us know.
I'm going to talk about the mix of this a little bit. Directed by Steve.
Directed
himself.
by Steve with he goes quite in depth. I think I caught an interview with him on how he did it. So most of the band, well, Adrian didn't take a year off because he had the ASAP album.
Yeah.
But I think it was to keep Steve busy. I think
So Steve gets.
Steve likes to work.
He likes to work. He's kind of locks himself in the house for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, I suppose, now's as good a time as any to kind of talk about that, the approach of the direction that Steve took. So different to Life After Death.
Yeah. To the layman, probably not so different, but then when you think about it, as a fan, it's very different.
It is very different. Whereas I think on the history videos, they kind of touch upon this where it was really Rod who was kind of overseeing the direction or whatever of the of Life After Death. Whether he actually directed it or not, I don't know. I think he's saying that he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Give him a wee bit of license after time.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I think Rod says something along the lines of, well, Steve came to him and said, well, look, you did the last one, so I want to crack at this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's more from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, the fan's perspective. Yeah, so a lot of the shots seem to be from looking up.
Mm-hmm.
Very few crowd shots.
Yep.
Not as much really. Well, there's a few. There's definitely a few when I was. Not a whole lot, nothing major, but it's different. It is very like being there though.
It is.
So, he's whatever he set out to achieve it, I think he achieved it.
I think he achieved it as well. Yeah, I think it's cool. It kind of it puts you in mind of being at a gig. If you've been to gigs, yourself, you can be at different points in the crowd. So you could be standing in front of Adrian over, on one side, or you could be in the middle a bit further back, or you could, and I think he kind of
always end up over Ari though.
Aye.
I would do. Next time I'll try and get over to Adrian.
Why do we always?
I don't know. We always end up with
It's
Yannick and Ari.
Slightly centre right.
Centre right. We always end up centre right.
Yeah.
So
I wonder why that is.
It's weird.
It is weird. It is weird.
Anyone else got a preferred side at the end of their main gig? Please let us know. But
Please
it's
let us know.
just happens.
We just always.
And the other thing as well is this. Can I say this? You're a lot taller than I am.
Well, it's easier.
So you get to see a lot more than I do.
Yes.
Because I do like to be at the front or near the front, as near as front as I can be, an old now. But maybe a couple of rows back. But it's hard when you're small.
Aye. Well, it's...
And you can't pick me up.
No.
Put me on your shoulders.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's not because I'm a weakling.
Shut up.
Sorry, Chris. Maybe it is.
Thought you were my friend.
We digress.
No more digressing this evening.
No more tangents. Back to, I think it's 10 cameras.
Right. Yeah.
Positioned all in various spots. Plus, or within those 10 cameras, I think this is the birth of what I'm going to call Nicocam.
Nicocam. What a great title.
Yeah.
Yes.
You like that?
It's hilarious.
It's true. It becomes a thing. For me, there's brilliant Nicocam in this. And
yeah.
And Life After Death is a brilliant live album and a brilliant video, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
But the Nicocam in this is far better.
Mm-hmm.
Far better. You've got ones at the side of him.
Yeah.
Or whether it's the same camera and they just move it slightly, whether it's being manned, and Nico's looking at the camera. He loves it.
Yeah.
I think this is, for Nico, this is a brilliant video.
Yeah.
And we'll come on to the performances, I suppose, in a minute. But that's just the technical aspect of how it's filmed and what the aim, I suppose, of the video is. Different from Live After Death, more from various. I think it's supposed to be from 8 or 10 different fans' perspectives.
Okay.
So there is a shot. Each shot. It's not like they're from all over the place. They're from fixed positions. I think is the idea. So
it's a companion piece, a great companion piece to Live After Death. So I think, as the two of them, they are different.
They are different.
And they are, again, but I have used the bookends theme before, but it's like a...
Yes.
This Live After Death would be like the beginning of the dominance.
Yes.
This is...
the end
of the dominance, really.
Yes,
I hate saying that, but
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
But together, they do go for it. They're like peas and carrots. You need to have both. I think you need to watch both.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think this is an important release for the band. But I come on to it. It is. I do think there's some quite major flaws in it as well.
Right. Yeah.
So as usual, folks, we haven't discussed what we're going to say, so I have no idea what Chris thinks of Maiden England, and he has no idea what I think of it. So,
and I have to be honest, I could have given it more time to research. It's been a very, very, very busy time. So.
Well, but busy week or so for both of us. That said, I don't think there's a hell of a lot out there about it.
No, there's not, and I have been looking. By God, I have been looking.
Yeah.
In my times where I have been able to do research, I had a classic rock, no Metal Hammer.
Yeah.
Actually, from about 2018.
Mm-hmm.
About Seventh Son.
Yes.
And it was very little about Seventh Son, more so about Monsters of Rock.
Yeah.
Not very much about this, so it's just disappointing.
There's not much about this. Look, the various biographies and stuff.
Yeah,
there's not really much there to go on. So,
I suppose it's would you say it's the beginning of I hate saying like it's a market. Is it more of a marketing thing? Do you think?
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Well, just by the way I kind of see the way they Maiden operate now is you've got an album, then you've got the tour. you've got the tour album, then you have the album, then you have the tour album. Especially this past decade, you know.
Yeah.
Is it more of a?
Well, they're.
You know.
I think they're the reason for them releasing this. You
Yeah.
mean? I think the reason for them releasing this is like they held off on a live album.
Well,
And then Life After Death.
There's no document of.
There's nothing about Somewhere in Time,
You're right,
which, as I've said,
travesty.
And Steve was to this day really annoyed and really regretted that wasn't filmed, and that was because Rod
Just while we're talking, found that
ticket for Somewhere Back
in Time. Yeah,
Oh, brilliant.
Love to see a video of that.
That would have been glorious. Let's hope it's one of those things. I've heard rumours that
There was a video when we were at Twickenham.
Yes,
There's a boy filming, definitely.
I believe that Maiden have recorded a lot of stuff that'll be released post retirement.
Oh God, that was amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
So let's hope that that's one of them.
Here's hoping.
Because that'll be awesome. So and I think A Matter of Life and Death live is another.
Oh yeah.
thing that I believe there may be. But anyway, we are going off from tangent again. Again. Apologies, folks.
Sorry.
Where were we on this? So
I just
it's kind of the end of an era. Yeah,
I do think so. Yeah.
I think so as well, and for a couple of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like the set list, I suppose we could skip through pretty quickly.
Yeah, the
first.
set list is actually, I think, really good.
It's it's a really good set list.
You've got a real good smattering of Somewhere in Time and obviously Seventh Son.
And a bit of peace of mind on there as well.
Yeah,
So there is,
it is why it's such a good companion piece to Life After Death is they are quite different.
They are.
Apart from the classics that we still hear today.
Yeah.
They are quite different, which is great. Like
it is a different set.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's very it is different. You know, Moonchild we're opening with Evil Let Men Do, so couple off that album. Then The Prisoner, great track, obviously.
Then you Still Life.
Still Life, a real deep cut from Peace of Mind,
Yeah.
which I think is one of the most underrated gems in their career. And Dave Murray's solo at the start of this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I've always said that about, I give that album 10 out of 10, but on this as well, it's just that intro, it's just class.
Yeah.
I just love his solo. Diary Your Boots on there.
Diary Boots on. Killers is on it too.
Yeah. So we've got Infinite Dreams then, which is a great track, and is the single off this release. Killers, as you're saying there, which is good for them to have wheeled out Killers.
It's an excellent song.
It is an excellent song. It's brilliant, and they play it with real venom.
Yeah, they do.
Here, Can I Play with Madness? It's not my favourite.
Yeah, but good to hear that whenever they started the live vocal harmonies.
Yes. I know it's something that Adrian's particularly proud of. That they could pull that off live. Then a couple of ones for you: Heaven Can Wait and Wasted Years.
Yep, both classics.
Off your favourite album.
Yeah, my favourite album indeed.
Clairvoyant, the title track Seventh Son,
which is great.
Which is a Titanic track, really. Great atmosphere. I love the middle section in it.
Real bummer to play live too. I would have said it. They've been really tight.
I think Bruce says this is a really difficult song we're going to do next at the start of it, and also asking, could you just turn the bass down to how it was at the start of the show? That's what he says before that. I'm gonna come to that. The levels. Number of the Beast, Hallowed Be the Name, Iron Maiden.
Yep.
That is where the original VHS finishes.
Yep.
But on the 2013 reissue, we get the encore.
Yeah.
Which is Run to the Hills,
Classic.
Running Free,
Yep.
and Sanctuary. So a really strong set list. I don't think a Maiden fan of that time, or indeed any other, could really complain about that. Yeah, it's great. Obviously, the album that is most under or not really represented there is Power Slave.
Yeah.
And possibly that's because of the strength of Seventh Son. The they're playing huge chunk
They
of
are
that
playing.
album, you know?
And I thought, to be honest, there's a fair amount of Somewhere in Time in there
Yeah,
as well. Was
Well-
it 3 tracks, isn't it? Am I being stupid? It's 2 tracks.
2 tracks.
2 tracks.
I'm surprised. I was surprised at the amount of well, you've a couple of. It's pretty evenly spread. You could
It
just
is. I
2
think it
tracks
is good.
in from Peace of Mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, it is a good
No
then
Trooper.
smattering of the No Trooper. You know, so they're mixing it up a wee bit.
Yeah.
Which is good. They get criticised for not mixing it up at times, and they have here.
Yeah.
So the set list isn't set list great. My complaint would be the mix. I have
Yeah.
a
Well.
massive issue with that. I've two complaints about
Right.
this
Go on
album.
ahead. Let's hear 'em.
So the first one is the levels. I think the guitars are criminally low
Mm-hmm.
in the mix. I think the drums and the bass, the rhythm section, are extraordinarily loud.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they sound brilliant. Nico's performance in this
It's faultless.
is unreal.
Yeah.
I think his drumming is just absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant.
Top of the game.
And Steve's bass playing as well. As a rhythm section, you just hear how tight they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just
Mhm.
on it, you know, and they're playing at real speed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some songs are too fast.
That's,
Yeah.
I was going to point, but yeah.
Oh, was that what you were
Yeah,
gonna? Yeah.
right.
But it's the volume for me. It's like where the guitars are so low, and you can hear the guitars are still powerful,
Yeah.
but they're too low in the mix. Even when they're kicking into solos, it's like they're too. I was listening to it in the speaker. I went, I'm gonna go and listen to this on a different system.
Yeah.
Because I thought I can't. Is it really that skew width? And it was. So
Skew width means like off kilter
Yeah.
or out of place. Just thinking that's a real.
to me, it's really
Yeah,
obvious.
yeah.
You know. And then sat and played a bit of Seventh Son.
What version are you listening to?
The YouTube on the
Right,
official
yeah.
YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just think it's way off.
Mm-hmm.
I then skipped back, listened to Seventh Son a bit, and immediately opened another tab, switched over
AP'd
to
it.
Rhyme in the Ancient Mariner
Mhm.
from Life After Death,
Mm-hmm.
and the difference in the levels of guitars is crazy.
Do you think that's Kevin Shirley more than Martin Birch, or do you
That's-
think it's?
That's what I'd love to know.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because we all know that there's been criticism leveled at Kevin Shirley.
That's what
Not
I'd love
that we
to know.
particularly agree with it, but
But I wonder,
it's just a bit.
did Steve have any say in this or what? Because it actually is the direction that the band from this point forward take.
Mm.
With Adrian's departure,
Yeah,
then I think the guitar tones change
yeah,
and they become weaker or a bit more.
yeah,
It's almost like they're using single coils or something.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It becomes a lot more stratty.
yeah.
If that's the right word.
Both Yannick Garris and
Yeah.
Dave Murray both play strats.
Both play strats. I think, you know, we'll get into this when we talk No Prayer of the
No
Dying
Prayer, yeah.
and stuff, but, you know, Yannick's obviously a big Richie Blackmore fan. To me, the guitars go more that direction, whether Adrian's guitar sounds big,
Beefy.
beefy,
Mm.
you know, and precise, and the band loses that, but the guitars are too low in the mix for me, even though you can hear the power
Yeah.
is still there.
Yeah.
So that kind of frustrates me on this. The other big issue I have is I think Bruce is a cold in this.
Yeah, he doesn't sound at his best. Sure,
He sounds like he sounds very shouty at times,
Mhm.
and I think there's some notes he doesn't hit that he would usually hit. And he blows his nose at a point. Have to blow my nose here, which you know, if you ever see any other concert footage, any other live release
yeah.
of Bruce going, "Here, everyone, I'm just blowing my nose," you know, with a hanky, you know, it's. I think he's got
yeah,
he's got a dose of the cold.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe give him a bye ball on that,
Yeah, I think so.
because I suppose you could say, well, why didn't they just do another night? But
And
it would have been
it's sad.
pre-planned.
I know, exactly. But it's sad too, isn't it? Because the way that they even sort of orchestrated the tour, I think, with Live After Death, they wanted to record in front of a British audience, but that only ended up being, side 4 of the LP.
Yeah.
And what we got was
Was
Long
Long
Beach.
Beach. Yep.
Arguably, they played better and tighter, according to Steve. Then I think this is the whole idea of this starting the wrong way around.
Yes.
Traditionally.
Yes.
Starting America, didn't it?
They start in the US and
Start in
work
Germany, a
their
wee
way
bit in Germany, a couple
round.
of gigs
Yeah.
in Germany, and then the rest in America, yeah. And then coming back for the triumphant homecoming, and it just sort of falls flat. That's maybe the reason why as well, that it's just not as celebrated as Live After
Yeah,
Death too.
it could.
Because it's the
good
set
point.
list is brilliant.
The set list is brilliant,
You know?
yeah. But I just
And they
don't.
do play too fast.
They do play too fast. Now, it's not to take away from. I think the band performance is brilliant.
Well,
I think some of the playing.
Playing those songs fast is hard.
It's
Playing them
really,
too
really
fast
hard.
is really hard, but they do play it perfectly, but it is too quick.
It is too quick. Like the title track, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, is so
Like,
fast.
Bruce can't
and
even
silly.
catch the notes.
No,
Yeah.
he can't. You know, and
Uh-huh.
I noticed that the opening part, the down is the right pace.
Yeah,
But then once the drum roll goes in, they're off.
yeah.
You know, and I think this causes a problem because Adrian Smith wasn't happy with this.
Yeah.
Pretty well documented that he tried to kind of say we're playing,
Too quick, yeah.
and he says we're throttling the life out of some of these songs, and I think he's all about
That's
the.
that run.
yeah.
Pretty much exactly what you just said.
Adrian's about the groove and that,
Yeah.
and they were losing the groove on some of it. You know, they're just firing through it.
Yeah.
But yes, Bruce's voice definitely not what it usually is. And when I say what it usually is, brings me to slightly other point. Why wasn't this Donington?
Yeah.
Seems
Well,
very, very strange.
Well, I suppose one of the reasons is because the Donington was an amazing show, but then obviously
it was
there was marred
tragically marred by
the two fans
Yeah.
lost their life in the Guns N' Roses set. But you know, I'm not sure.
I've heard the audio for it because I thought I'm going to look up to see if there's audio, and the audio for Donington '88 is available on YouTube, and Bruce sounds infinitely better.
Yeah. Right. I didn't get that, and I didn't listen to it. But
Infinitely better. So I'm convinced he had cold or flu or
yeah,
something
he must
here,
have.
you know.
Yeah.
Which, as you say, is a shame.
It is a shame.
What I find strange, and
because it more than the NEC is the
you would have thought the pinnacle
it's
of
the realization. It's the
Yeah.
it's the homecoming.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So strange that wasn't picked as
Did Def Leppard played the year before?
I don't know.
Donington in the 80s. The thing is, whenever Rick Allen comes back, there's that thing Joe Elliott talks about Rick Allen coming back after a horrendous accident.
I don't know what year that was, Chris.
I think it was 87.
But
in the
you,
mid-86.
you could be right.
You
But
know,
the
like,
lineup was great.
Those were
Kiss-
100, and they were expecting 60,000, got 108,000 people.
it's crazy that, you know. And
But that's still
dangerous. But Kiss, David Lee Roth, Megadeth, Guns N' Roses, Halloween.
When was the last time Kiss were happy enough to play second fiddle to somebody?
Well, they're mates with Maiden
Yeah, well, that's it, true.
because and businessmen.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
You know, Maiden supported Kiss. The way Kiss sort of looked at that was, well, Maiden are doing really well.
Kiss her on the way in, makeup's off.
Yeah,
Crazy Nights was 2 years ago. Yeah.
it gives us exposure to Maiden's fans. You know, Guns N'
Festivals
Roses
were different then, anyway. They're not like they are now.
They're not like they were now. You know,
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses on the Appetite run. You know, Megadeth and the So Far So Good So What run.
David Lee Roth.
Oh,
At the height of a solo career, though,
Yeah.
lily enough.
that would have been class.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been class. But strange that it wasn't that rather than Birmingham NEC. No disrespect to Birmingham NEC. You just would have thought it would have been live at Donington.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because of the tragedy. Maybe
Could
they
well have
changed
been.
plans
Could well
and
have
moved it. We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know. But the thing about saying about Bruce's voice here, what I find does anyone else find this odd? Surely if, right, you've pre-planned it, so you can't change the show.
Yeah.
They have to batter on. You've got the cameras and all there. You just have to do the best you can. And he does. And look, most people wouldn't be able to sing the way
he does.
The way he does.
Yeah.
You know,
he could sing with half his vocal cords and still do better than most people.
That's it, exactly. You know, so you know, hats off to him for putting the performance in that he does with a cold. Most people just couldn't at all. But that's what I find is even more strange about the mix. Why, you know, if your singer's struggling because of, you know, he's got a cold or something like that, would you not lower the voice in the mix slightly, push the guitars up a wee bit more?
We'll give it more of a
make
sort
it less
of that
obvious.
sort of Hertz level support, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know, the voice is so loud in the mix because the guitars are so further down, and it's just such a different sound to Live After Death. And I'm not suggesting that they should you know, just mix every live album, or, you know, the band obviously had slightly different guitar tones by this point, and you've got keyboards in, which you didn't before. But I just think the mix it doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. There's an awful lot of hi-hat as well. Yeah. And I think that is a bit too loud. Again, the guitars should need to be up. They're a guitar band.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a heavy metal band. They're a rock band.
The guitar line and the vocal.
The guitars, and I just think the guitars are too, you know, and it becomes a theme for the 90s. Guitars seem to come get lower and lower, or thinner and thinner. Yeah. And for me, it's a very, very strange decision that starts here. Yeah. This is the first step on doing that.
And without in the future Adrian's influence, maybe.
Yeah.
However, on the wane it was at this time, you know, I suppose not having that, and me, it's to the sound's detriment at the end.
Yep. Adrian's perfection. I mean,
he is a perfectionist.
That's why he leaves the band.
Yeah.
You know, he's not happy with them playing too quick. He's, I don't know. I don't know whether the levels in Maiden England displeased him or not. I think he just wasn't happy with it. And I think Nico says in the history thing that me and Adrian were talking about this the other day, and, you know, he watched it and he's still not happy with it. You know, but he wasn't happy with it at the time. Yeah. You know, and then going into No Prayer for the Dying,
well, that's when all
pre-rehearsals or whatever you call it, you know, pre-production. Yeah. That's Adrian's.
That's him.
Leaves. Yeah. Then whether he's asked to leave or whatever, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so this does, where the album Seventh Son, we said, does not show any sign that this is the end of an era.
Well, it's a
great album.
Yeah.
It's a triumph.
Yeah, it is a triumph.
It's ironic that the document,
the supporting document,
the live document of that album, actually you do see the signs of what becomes a bit of a decline there. So
you could write a book about the year 1989.
You think I should?
I think you should. You could, though. You could really. Like, what went wrong?
Adrian, if you're watching.
What went wrong?
What went wrong? And it's not being...
What went wrong, brother?
A lot went right. I think Steve did a great job with the footage and all, like we said, you know, and the cameras and all. But it's just the sound. I don't know.
Because they were on top of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's some...
Even in the face of thrash and, you know, what was to come.
Yes.
You know, at what, in 89, you're talking, what, like Faith No More were breaking through. Red Hot Chili Peppers were, Mother's Milk was 89. Yeah. You know, you're starting it's starting to all sort of spread out, a bit more alternative. James Dixon was 89 as well. But then Maiden are still at the very top.
Still at the top.
You know, Metallica are in Europe the studio for a brave long time now, aren't they?
It's 88, so this is Justice for All era will be, so... But yes, it seems like in Europe, I know that this album didn't do as well in the States, but it just is the start, I think. Not to put a downer on it, but I think
I'm actually looking forward to the future, because I tell you, it's the time I have looked at the least.
the 90s, doing the 90s.
I even listened to the list. So
It's
it'd be
also-
good to reacquaint myself.
It's interesting to. I think that's a good point you make, dude. It's interesting to talk about, strange decisions
Yeah.
because you want to question them
Yeah.
a bit more. So sometimes there's more to say.
Yeah.
And I think this is the start of perhaps some strange decisions that
Yeah.
you think, why did they do that? Or
Yeah.
why, yeah. So that's my thoughts on Maiden England. It kind of baffled me a little bit,
Yeah.
actually, just watching it, listening to it.
I enjoyed it, but it left me feeling a bit. It was too fast.
Too fast.
Too
Yeah.
fast, and it lost a wee bit. As you say, the mix is not great, but
No.
the speed of it is a thing which sort of loses me, because you're like, you want to see your favorite band of a recorded document of a supporting statement of a triumph.
Yeah.
You want to see them at their very best, and this just isn't it.
Some of the
If you had to choose between this and Live After Death, there's no choice.
There's no choice.
There's no choice to make.
And I hope we're not sounding like we're being too down on this. It's still a good.
This is the Empire Strikes Back of the Ed Factor right now. To be honest, that bit at the end. This is what this is. This is the Empire Strikes Back. Don't worry, Return of the Jedi's coming.
I think if you're doing a podcast like we are, a series about Maiden, and you're a proper fan, you have to be kind of brave enough to point out when the band aren't.
Well, you can't just say everything's
everything's brilliant.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's just being kind of blind. You can't say everything's brilliant. So we're not. Maybe watching our early episodes, you may have thought by some of it that we would, but
we were gushing.
Well, we were, but we weren't too gushing about Killers.
No, we weren't really, and I was not gushing about Peace of Mind, to be honest with you.
Which was criminal.
Yeah, we're not talking about disagreements about 1980s Iron Maiden albums, Andrew.
But that's true. Different opinions, but I think it's right for us just to not be given everything full marks. And this does have issues, and I think we're right to. I think we've called the right issues.
Absolutely,
for me,
yeah.
Anyway,
I agree with you totally.
Too fast. Bruce has the flu.
Poor mix, drums too
loud. They're the negatives of it. The positives are great set list, great guitar playing, great musicianship.
Great to see some deep cuts being committed to film or to LP.
Yeah.
CD, whatever.
The true birth of Nico Cam.
Yeah.
And thing we haven't.
And Sooty on the drums.
Yes. And thing we haven't mentioned is the stage set.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
I really love the stage set for this. Obviously the artwork, as we discussed previously, but the ice setting was really, really cool. And I like the kind of purple and pink lights that are used at times. I think with that kind of icy vibe, it looks really.
It does.
Looks really
it
cool.
looks really professional.
And it's a bit different for a metal band as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that worked, and I think actually the Big Eddie.
It's really cool.
Is one of the best.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now
we don't have that. We don't have the walking Eddie and that right coming on during Iron Maiden. No. But the Eddie that comes on is cool. It's really, really good.
It's stunning looking. So it is. It's like wow.
Totally animated as well. Isn't it? Yeah, like its head moves and its mouth moves.
It's like just they've got the bloody album cover on stage.
They do. Rexy's
album
cover brought to life, which is really no mean feat.
Huge challenge. Like when you look at the image, you would have thought that was one of the hardest ones for them to actually achieve.
Absolutely, it was.
But they achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
So full marks to the crew for the stage set.
Bruce's on-stage pattern's pretty good as well.
His on-stage pattern is great.
Lifting Dave Murray up on his shoulders, pissing about with the cymbals.
Yeah, he has some fun with Nico.
Yeah, he does.
So he does.
Where Live After Death, he was trying to throw Eddie out of the road, remember? So, you got that as well,
No, I mean, that side of the performance I couldn't, I couldn't complain about. It's just more the audio and the mix.
Well, it's more the stuff that actually
matters probably. Yeah. So there's pros and cons of this one. Right?
Yeah.
So Anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think we've covered it pretty much.
I think
we've
covered
sort of
it.
summed this up really succinctly, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, because we are now about to embark on a different time.
A different era is about, yep, the 90s are dawning.
Yeah, the 90s are dawning. It's time to ditch the high tops and get the Converse on.
Yeah, we will ditch it's time to get the jeans and a t-shirt on.
Yeah, take the belt, take the spandex off. You'll be delighted Dave will be putting his pajamas away. But he does wear a little cowboy.
He's wearing a pair of, here, Dave Mary's wearing a pair of tight leathers in this one.
One thing,
it looks like he can hardly walk.
Adrian Smith's jacket. Mr. T was looking for his jacket back. That's what I was thinking.
He's
stole Mr. T's jacket. No, that's denim. I think it's denim and he's ripped
but he's got white tassels.
Aye, but I think that's the threads of the denim. You know when you used to scuff your jeans, they put a hole in them.
And his mullet.
Really cool. His
mullet is out of hand.
It is the most 80s looking thing I've ever seen. It's really, that's where Hatfield's got that from.
Here, well, is that what you thought? I thought he looked like he just walked off Ramsey Street.
You flying galah. Maybe he's big in the neighbours, you never know.
Mark Adrian, we love you though. Is playing on this. There's some of the solos he hits.
He's cracking.
It's brilliant. And Dave sounds great on this too. I just wish they were both up louder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Scores.
Do you want to go first in this one?
I'm going to give this. I'm going to give this a 7.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. You know, regarding just as a document of what it is, the set list is great. You know.
Yeah.
And I can't be too hard on it.
Okay.
You know, that way.
That way.
You
know. Well, I am going to give it a 6.5.
Oh, that's okay.
So we're in
about the same ballpark.
The same kind of ballpark. Yeah.
I would have given it a 6.5. I think had the deep cuts not on it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciated the fact that they played even the Prisoners. You know, but Still Life as well.
Yeah. I love Still Life.
And Clairvoyant Live, great too. You know. But,
yeah. I mean, the set list great, but 6.5 for me because I just you know, Bruce is such a vital part of the band and such a vital part of the band live, and this is one of the very rare live albums that, you know, he's just not. It's not his fault. He's got the flu.
Yeah.
Right? But I just don't. It ruins it for me.
Yeah.
You know. I can't think of any other live album that I feel that about.
Yeah.
You know, that I think Bruce doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
And you know.
And we have quite a few coming.
And we've quite a few coming. And actually some of the next live albums will be really interesting to talk about. The 90s ones. I'm looking forward to talking about some of them. So yeah, 6.5 from me.
So that gives us an Ed Factor score of 6.75.
Yep, 6.75
for Maiden England.
And I think we give Life After Death 8 or 8.5.
Yeah, I think that's equally fair.
So I think that's if you look at the
it's 1.75 more improved. Life After Death.
I think that's about right. Guys and gals, let us know what you think of Maiden England. Maybe you think we've been too harsh on it.
You might do, yeah.
You might do.
Any opinions welcome, obviously, and we love to hear from you. And we also, you know, have to say thank you for sticking with us for so long.
Yes. Join us for our next episode where we will be talking about No Prayer for the Dying. It was the first Maiden album I ever owned. So tune in, check out what we got to say about it. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Okay, everybody.
Up the irons.